Would you say you're happier having more money?
Yeah. Yes.
At
I
what point would you say the money kind of has a diminishing return on your happiness?
I don't know, somewhere like, um, I mean, these are kind of cheeky questions, but because this will get a lot of hate. I don't know, like when you start earning 50,000 to 100,000 a month, most things are pretty good in terms of like you can do almost like the economy is not built for people who the economy is built for people who earn 75 grand a year. So everything's priced for 75 grand a year. So everything is essentially made to be affordable for people who are on normal wages, provided you don't go into super luxury environments that are built for the super rich. In the normal world, if you're earning, $500,000 to $1 million a year, like the world's pretty much your oyster. You can, do all those sorts of things. I don't know. I haven't hit that point. More money's great. I don't understand all these people who are like, boo hoo, I made money, but it didn't make me happy. It's like rubbish. It did not make you happy, right? You removed all the things that made you unhappy for starters. You might still be left with some things that money can't solve. Money can only solve money problems. But most problems can actually dramatically improved. One thing I will tell you about it, I was super happy when I was broke. So I moved out of home. I was living on a concrete, like I took a garage floor, put a carpet on it, put a mattress on top of that. So I was 18 years of 1 week, and I was so broke that I would go to the vegetable and butcher shop and ask for the offcut boxes and like, what can you give me for a couple of dollars? And I'd make that
Sound like Graham last Tuesday.
I know.
Make that into a soup.
Yep.
And like my hobby was walking in nice neighborhoods because like that's all I could afford, just walking. But at one time I was pizza delivery driver, barman, door-to-door salesperson, running my own nightclub parties, trying to do university, like crazy stuff. And doing everything I knew how to do, I was making barely enough money just to just survive. And I could only really survive on things like canned tuna and pasta. And I learned how to make this canned tuna pasta dish with some tomato sauce in it, like horrible stuff, right? But I figured out how to make really cheap food, and I got a parking ticket and I had to eat just nonstop Special K breakfast cereal for like a week so that I could afford the parking ticket. So I've been there. But the thing I will tell you about myself is I was super excited because I'm like, this is just part of the journey. I'm gonna be like flying one day. I'm gonna remember what it was like to start at the total bottom.
So you always knew you were going to be rich.
I was optimistic. Yeah, I was super optimistic.
You had the confidence.
Yeah, I'm also I'm quite a happy person.
See, that's the thing. I mean, I was trying to isolate the one thing that I feel like differentiates a lot of the people that are successful versus are not successful. And it seems like you're coming from the perspective that it's knowledge, like they need to go in and get the experience, be with the right circles. I have a feeling that it kind of starts a little bit before that in terms of faith. Like you had the confidence and faith that if you did the right things, that the universe would reward you. But I think a lot of people, like they have good aptitude. They're intelligent people, but they just they don't have the confidence that if they do the right things, the good things will happen.
Yeah, that's probably true. And I'm probably super lucky that I got as I say, luck is a big part of it, but it was interesting. It's like a dance with luck. You do some stuff and then you get lucky, and you do some stuff and you get lucky. So for me, I took this huge risk to put on my first nightclub party when I was 18. And I rented the top nightclub in town. And then I approached McDonald's to be the sponsor, and I approached the radio station to be the sponsor. And they said yes, but I had committed to this venue. And then I run this nightclub party, and I think I made, I don't know, $5,000-$6,000 in a night. And it was all cash, and it was like, wow, this is amazing. This was amazing, huge. And then I ran 6 of those that year. But then because I had done those nightclub parties, John took me on as his apprentice. So when I sat down with John for that first conversation, my mentor, he only took me on because he'd seen me hustling and creating the nightclub parties. So that luck came from this hustle. So bit of hustle, bit of luck, bit of hustle, bit of luck. Yeah, I think you got to keep, in my mind, there's no choice. You just have to stay positive. You have to have your eye on the prize. The alternative is being miserable, and it repels people.
Is there anything that you've spent money on that's not worth it?
Normally cars and sports cars and things like that are not like it's shocking how physical things become extremely like they lose their shine so quickly. Like I remember, you buy a really nice car. And mind you, there are nice cars and then there are really nice cars. You buy a nice car and it becomes a daily driver really fast. It becomes like the most normal thing. The value relative to the enjoyment drops off a cliff within about 3 to 6 months on those sorts of things. Experiences are always the best. Taking family on holidays, going to nice restaurants, putting together a group of like my wife puts on this amazing Christmas party every year, and like we invite all of our friends from the year and bring people around to the house, and she has like a jazz band and a magician and those kind of things, and those experiences, that stuff is just such a positive. So I think experiences tend to be really great. Having a fitness trainer is definitely a win. The negative stuff is all the status orientated stuff. Like the status treadmill is such a loser's game. Like getting into the whole, like I have to have Louis Vuitton everything. And then if I'm not seen in Louis Vuitton, then it's a disaster. Or like just being on this treadmill of having to spend 6 times as much as what it should cost on everything. Like, I don't know, for me personally, I just haven't found that is, the juice is not worth the squeeze there. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say, in terms of things not being worth the money, 100%, I think status symbols like that, if you're buying them for that symbol, then I don't think it's worth it. I think expensive clothing is really not worth it.
I think
and then
a nice watch is actually
it's
worth
funny
it.
enough, a lot of the watches have been gifts.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I wear them all the time.
And
I
the
wouldn't
watches
buy it,
hold
yeah.
their value and they last a long time.
Yes.
So actually I would say that they're not they don't necessarily, the things that drop precipitously in value, like clothing, cars, those things tend to be.
Yeah.
Plus, a watch will get the right kind of attention, whereas like a Gucci,
It just depends on the watch,
bag.
too.
Yeah, it depends on the watch.
Yeah.
Going into debt for stuff, really, like I know in the US there's a much bigger culture around just going to debt for stuff. I find personally, I just don't really like being on a debt treadmill for something. God, it better be worth it.
What's your advice to broke people?
I think environment dictates performance. That get around an environment where people are succeeding. You want to be around an environment where being disciplined around money and earning and success is the norm. When I was in my 20s, I got dragged along to Latin jive dance classes. And I felt so embarrassed. I thought, like, who goes to dance classes? And I just thought that's so like counter to my identity, and I just didn't think this was a good thing. But as soon as I was around this group of people who go dancing, suddenly dancing was the most normal thing in the world. And I ended up doing it for 3 years and becoming quite good. And I remember just this idea of environment dictates performance. When you get in the environment, it becomes normal to do different things that you didn't think you would do previously. So when you're in an environment where everyone around you is saving, investing, starting businesses, growing businesses, having conversations about trends and performance and teams and all of those kinds of things, it just immediately kind of just levels you up. So like do whatever you can to either virtually be in that environment, which means you have a content diet that supports growth, like listening to these podcasts and that sort of stuff. And then an actual physical environment where you hang out with people, and you can be the one to put that together. So you can reach out to some people and say, hey, I want to put together like a monthly catch up where we get together and just talk life, liberty and strategy and happiness and all of those kinds of things. Do you want to come along? Do you want to be part of it? So you can even create a little environment like that.